Hey everybody, Lawton here with another edition of Untold Stories. This one's going to be a little different. This one's going to be the 10 things Larry Lawton needs in prison. I'm going to show you some stuff, tell you about some stuff, things we use in prison and that every good convict needs. First of all, every good convict needs this. What is this? This, ladies and gentlemen, is a part of a shank. What we would do is we would get a bolt or a screw out of a wall, going into a fence, into a wall, wherever you can get this. This would be worth a lot of money in prison. This is worth what we call books of stamps. And obviously, books of stamps is money. One book of stamps, $5. In prison, this shank could go for $50, which is 10 books of stamps or more. Some people would get them out of the CMS, and then they would make wooden handles, and they would have a shank. So it is a must to have. If you're a real convict, you are going to have something to defend yourself. And in the prisons I went to, maximum security prisons, you need stuff. It's as simple as that. Without that, you could be in trouble. As I said, this has actually saved my life. Well, what do you need with this? Your second item you need is, and I'm going to label this, a suitcase. And it's not the suitcase you're thinking. It's not the kind you carry on the airport. This is a suitcase that you insert in your rectum, and you hide this to get through the various metal detectors in prison. How does a suitcase work? Well, an essential item is a suitcase to do what with? One, to carry your shank. You can put your shank in here. It's inserted in your rectum. And then when you need it on the yard, you take this out. You pop that right out. And the reason you put a tape on the end of a toothbrush holder. This is a toothbrush holder, one half of a toothbrush holder they sell on the commissary. So what you would do is you would get this, you take half of it, you can then use this mostly to hide drugs. Most people would suitcase their drugs so they don't lose them in a shakedown. Or if they're dealing with drugs on the yard, they want them somewhere, they will actually step behind a wall or into a bathroom, take it out, obviously have their drugs, give it to the person, insert it back in their rectum. Obviously, this might be a little dirty, but the drugs in it are not. You also put the tape on the one end, because I actually heard of a story of a person putting something in their rectum, put it the wrong way. The actual shank came out of this tube, and it ripped up his intestines in prison. So that is possible. So the good convict will have a very good suitcase, and in their suitcase will be whatever they want to hide. You can put a kite in there, or you can put a kite, which is a note from prison to prison. You can either do that, or you could do a shank, or you can do drugs. That's the three major things you're going to suitcase around the prison. So it's going to happen. It is there, and people use it. It's what it is. And it's an essential item. If you're a convict, you'll have some people say, I never did that. A lot of people haven't. But convicts had to do what they had to do. So it's an essential item in prison. My next item, and you're looking at it and you're going to say, what are these? They're styrofoam cups. They give you these cups through in the hole when they give you your jungle juice is what it's called, and they would put it on the chute door, and we're showing a picture right now of a chute door. That's the door that opens up in prison, and they put the food tray on it, or they put these two drinks on it, and you take them away, then the tray comes on it, you pull your tray in your cell, you eat in your cell, and you put your tray back out there. Well, you need these, and I'll tell you why. These are used for a lot of things. As you notice, this one has a hole in it. The idea of this cup right here would be you would put your speakers right in here, and the sound coming out would be great. You have two speakers on one end, and you literally have a stereo system in your cell. And believe it or not, it would actually play pretty good. The sound percussion off of that is actually pretty good. You'd be surprised, but it is. And everybody used to keep a stack of these styrofoam cups. Some people use them for bad reasons. I talked about in one of my videos about what the guards would get douched. And what I mean by that is when they come around for what they call the cell checks, if you're in the hole, every week, the mucky mucks, the warden, the associate warden, the captain, the unit managers, case managers would come around the prison in the cell to cell, and it used to piss me off, because here they would come up to one cell and they say, "How you doing?" "How do you think I'm doing? I'm in the hole. Get out of here." That's what I used to tell them. And they'd come in, knock on the door. "How you doing?" "What do you mean I'm doing? I'm in the hole." I was in the hole for 11 straight months. You start going crazy. And they're supposed to do a lot of things in prison. They don't do. But essential item would be this. Why do you have this? Well, I've seen guys put piss and shit in this and make a concoction. They would make this concoction that they'd let it sit for days in that cup. And if they didn't like a guard or somebody important in the prison, when they open that chute door, whether it's to, say, cuff up, open up the chute to take you out to medical, or during chow call or mail call, I've seen people go crazy, come out the chute with their arm and throw it right on the guards, and it would stink up the whole entire tier. It was really bad, and I'll tell you what, it's something that, I smell it to this day. It just, it gives me the willies right now. It really does. It's just that bad. Think of the worst thing you ever smelled, and it's 10 times worse. That's how bad it was. So I never did that. I thought that was disgusting, but people did do that, and I've witnessed it all. But an item to have, and I use them for, is speakers. Believe it or not, these are great speakers in prison. Another item is very important to have. Back when I was in, we used to sell cigarettes. They used to sell cigarettes. Now they don't. But believe it or not, you can get them. A carton of cigarettes in prison goes for $1,000 today. I am in contact with people in various prisons around the United States, and a carton of cigarettes goes for $1,000. Think what I just said, $1,000. $100 a pack. People would get this, take a cigarette out, and they'd actually roll them up into maybe 5 or 6 cigarettes, or pin cigarettes, they would call them, and they would actually sell them around the unit. And why people bought cigarettes, whether they use cigarettes or not, is because the cellophane on the top of a cigarette pack can be used to light a cigarette or light a fire, and you use batteries to do that. So that's very important, and you always had essentially something of that nature in your cell. Another item we had, everybody had, is a razor blade. Just a razor blade like that. Simple as that. A little razor blade that you cut up your garlic, you cut up your pencil, you do whatever else you need, you use a razor blade. You would be surprised on what you use a razor blade for in prison. It's amazing. I think about it today. Whenever I want something sharp or I need a razor blade to open a box or do something, I always think of prison, because the first thing we did when we were in prison and you were in the hole or you were in your own prison, you would get a razor to shave. In the hole, they gave you a razor every other day or 3 times a week, sometimes twice a week. They would give you a razor to shave. Well, the guard comes up to your cell, says, "Do you guys want to shave? Hey, Lawton, you want to shave?" "Yeah, I want my razor." He writes it down, and he gives you the razor, he opens the chute door, he passes you the razor, you have your razor now. You actually shave. after you shave, you take it apart with the two little things in the back of the razor. You take this off, you take the razor out, you put a piece of glossy paper from a magazine like GQ or Men's FM magazine. All of those magazines, they have very glassy articles or very advertising pages, like Giorgio Armani would give this was great too. We used to take the magazine and they used to have cologne in those pieces of paper. It was a sample of a smell of a cologne. And so we would actually rip that out and keep those long strips, because if you open that strip, it smells. So we used to take them and rub them on our visiting outfits so you'd smell good for your visitor. And as crazy as that sounded, it actually worked. And it was amazing because in there we'd also get the glossy pages of an advertisement, and we'd put that back inside here, put this back right on, and all of a sudden the guard would get the razor back. He's got the gloss in there so he can't see. He thinks it's a razor. He looks at it and he throws it in the trash and he checks you off. In the meantime, you have a razor. I used to do that every time they did razors, so I'd always have extra razors all over the prison cell. And I did that for a number of reasons. They usually sharpen pencils or cut something. I'd use these razors. The prison tried to stop us in the hole from using a kite. A kite is a string from a bed sheet, or we flatten out a toothpaste, and that would be the weight on the end of it. We would tie that to a long piece of sheet we'd rip very thin, and we'd shoot that down the hall, and it would go down to a couple of cells. Another guy would shoot his out there, and he'd pull yours in, and now you have a back and forth line so you can pass books or pass whatever in prison. And it's very common. It's called shooting a kite. So what we would do is have razor blades, and if a guy needed a razor, you'd send it to him. So what does the prison do? They come up with this idea, let's stop the inmates from shooting kites. How can they do that? Well, under the door, we had a space about that big, maybe an inch and a half under the door, the gap under every door. So what does the prison do? They come in and they put down on the doors a piece of rubber across so they can open the doors back and forth, but there's no more gap under the door. So what do the inmates do? We take our trusty razor, lay on our backs, and literally cut that rubber all the way, start it, rip it, until we ripped that rubber off the door. And it went from cell to cell, and you would end up whatever cell you were in. If you saw one when they did it, they found out it was really useless to do that for us. I mean, why do it? It didn't matter. It didn't help. We cut them. They put them on. It was just a waste of time and money for them. It's just what they did. Couldn't help that. Razor blades are one of those little items you don't realize but you need. Your next item always to have